Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something pretty fascinating, maybe even a bit extreme in the spirits world. We're looking at an independent bottler, Blackadder.
That's right. And our focus today is really on their core idea, this almost, refusal to compromise on authenticity. We've got some great info here looking at their products, mainly through the lens of Whisky.dk, the Danish retailer.
Yeah, it's not just about the booze itself, is it? It's about this philosophy they have.
Exactly. It's about how far you can push this idea of purity, keeping things exactly as they came out of the cask. We'll see examples in whiskey, but also rum.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. Blackadder, founded back in '95, right? In the UK by Robin Tucek.
Robin Tucek. And he's not just some guy who decided to bottle whiskey. He co-authored the Malt Whiskey File, a really important book.
Ah, right. So he comes at this with some serious knowledge, some real background.
Definitely. That kind of deep understanding informs everything they do. And it's a family affair now. Robin, Michael Tucek, Hannah Tucek are all involved.
And it all seems to boil down to one simple, maybe not so simple idea.
Yeah, one core principle sums it all up. What comes out of the cask should go into the bottle, period.
That really says it all, doesn't it? So for you listening, if you get that quote, you basically get Blackadder.
Pretty much. And in practice, that means, a few things are standard for them. Always unchill filtered.
Okay, so that keeps the texture, the mouthfeel.
Exactly. No added color, ever. The cask does the work, and usually it's single cask.
One barrel, no blending.
Right. And often bottled at natural cask strength, so, maximum intensity.
Okay, that sounds like, the top end of independent bottling generally.
Right.
But Blackadder takes it further, especially with this Raw Cask series.
This is where they really diverge. Most bottlers, even the good independent ones, they filter. Maybe lightly, maybe heavily, but they filter.
So make it look clear, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of any cloudiness or bits.
Precisely. Haziness, sediment, those fatty oils that can sometimes appear. Standard practice is to remove them. Blackadder says, no, wait, those are part of the character.
So Raw Cask means they bottle it with that stuff, the sediment, the oils.
Yes. They pull out any actual splinters of wood, big bits. But that fine sediment, the natural oils, they stay in.
Huh. And they believe that's where the real flavor is.
That's the core belief. They call it a complete cask whiskey. The idea is this is as close as you can possibly get to sticking a straw directly into the barrel.
Okay, but isn't that a tough sell?
Yeah.
I mean, most people see cloudy bits in their drink and think something's wrong. How do they frame that?
It's a really good question. Because, for centuries, clear meant quality. Blackadder is flipping that entirely. That visible sediment becomes like a badge of honor.
A sign of authenticity.
Exactly. It's physical proof that it's unmessed with, as they might say. It asks you, the drinker, to value flavor and texture over just how it looks. They're basically saying, if you want maximum character, you got to take the whole package, sediment and all.
Interesting. It's definitely a statement. Okay, let's talk liquid then. Their whiskey range.
Yeah.
They do Scotch, obviously, but they go wider, right?
Yeah.
And this Raw Cask approach must make for some intense whiskeys.
Oh, absolutely. Look at their Scotch malt selection. There's a Glentowershires 12-year-old Speyside, bottled at, get this, 65.6% ABV.
Wow, 65.6% for a 12-year-old. That's huge, even for cask strength. From a refill sherry butt, you said.
Yeah. So that combination tells you something. Refill sherry means flavor, but not, total sherry domination. But at that strength, the flavors are just packed in.
And the Raw Cask apart.
That means all those rich, maybe slightly waxy, fatty compounds from the wood and the sherry, they're all still there. Gives it this massive, chewy texture that filtering would just strip away.
Okay, makes sense. They also do grain whiskey, which can be a bit more subtle sometimes. I see an Invergordon 29-year-old, bottled back in 2017 at 51.5%.
Yes, and also a younger Invergordon, a 14-year-old, but that one's way up at 64.2%.
So how does Raw Cask work with grain?
Well, aged grain develops these lovely, complex, sometimes delicate notes, vanilla, floral hints. Filtering can easily remove those. The raw cask approach keeps the oils that carry those flavors, and importantly, that smooth, lingering texture you get with well-aged grain.
Right, preserves the subtlety. Now, what really caught my eye was their world whiskey selection, not just Scotland. There's Japanese whiskey here, Shizuoka. Only 4 years old, but bottled at 64% ABV.
Isn't that something? 4 years old.
That's incredibly young for that strength. What's the story there? Matured in a Japanese wine cask.
Yeah, and this is classic Blackadder. They bottle when the cask is ready, age statement be damned. A 4-year-old hitting 64%. That cask must have been incredibly active. Maybe the climate, maybe that wine cask influence.
So they wouldn't dream of watering it down or filtering it heavily.
Absolutely not. That would just destroy the unique character built up in those 4 really intense years. Bottling it raw is, for them, the only way to capture that specific moment in time.
Makes sense. Okay, beyond Raw Cask, they have other series.
Yeah.
What about Peat Reek? Sounds like it does what it says on the tin.
Pretty much. It's aimed squarely at peat lovers. Often they don't even name the Eastleigh distillery.
Just guaranteed smoke.
Guaranteed peat smoke, yeah. And high strength, there's a 2016 bottling at 61.8%, for example.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they do identify it, like a Bruce Ladich, listed sometimes as Lochindal, 10 years old, 63.3%.
And again, cask strength, unfiltered.
Means that smoky phenolic punch hits you full force.
Yeah.
No compromises.
Okay, one more series. Black Snake. The notes say Solera inspired, and things like vat number 17 third venom. Sounds a bit mysterious. What does Solera inspired actually mean here, and venom?
Good question. It's not true Solera like in sherry. Solera inspired for Blackadder means they have these large ongoing vats. Let's say vat number 17. They'll draw off a batch of bottle.
Okay.
But they don't empty the vat. They immediately top it up with new whiskey, usually similar style, sherry or bourbon matured. So the vat always contains a mix of older and newer spirit.
Ah, so it builds complexity and consistency over time.
Exactly. And the venom, like third venom, just refers to the batch number. It's the third time they've drawn whiskey from that specific vat 17.
Got it. So it's their way of creating a consistent profile, but still keeping it high proof and unfiltered. Like the example here, 59.6% single malt.
Precisely. Focused often on sherry and bourbon influence in that series.
All right, so that covers the whiskey side pretty well. Now, what's really interesting is seeing them apply this exact same, quite rigid philosophy to rum. Does that raw cask approach translate?
It does, and arguably the impact is even more dramatic with rum. The core rules are identical. Single cask, cask strength, raw cask sediment included.
But why more dramatic?
Well, rum often has naturally higher levels of things like esters, those compounds that give fruity and funky notes. Plus, tropical aging, where a lot of rum matures, is intense. Huge evaporation, massive flavor concentration.
Right, the angel share is much bigger in the tropics.
Much bigger, so filtering that already concentrated spirit, you'd be removing a ton of texture and flavor.
Okay, let's look at some examples. These seem powerful. There's a Jamaican rum, New Yarmouth, 26 years old. Distilled 94, bottled 2021, at 66.8% ABV.
Yeah, incredible strength after 26 years. And only 257 bottles from that cask.
Wow. So that high ABV is partly because so much water evaporated over those 26 years in the heat.
Exactly. What's left is super concentrated alcohol and flavor compounds. Bottling at Raw Cask ensures all that intensity, all those cask oils make it into the bottle. That rum isn't just strong, it's bound to be incredibly complex and rare because so much was lost to evaporation.
And that texture you mentioned, connecting it to flavor. There's a Panama rum here, 14 years old, Raw Cask, 63.2%. Notes mention tropical depth, muscovado sugar, dark chocolate.
See, those richer notes, the dark chocolate, the deep sugariness, they're often carried by the heavier oils in the spirit. Chill filtration would strip those right out. The raw cask method keeps the viscosity, that richer mouthfeel, which really helps deliver those complex, aged flavors.
Makes sense. And just like whiskey, they're sourcing rum from all over. Australia, a Bentley 13-year-old at 65.1%. Dominican Republic, 10 years, 60.1%. Trinidad, 11 years, 66.4%.
Yeah, the range is broad, but the message is identical. Maximum character development in the cask, zero interference at bottling.
So for rum fans, it's the same promises for whiskey fans.
Yeah.
A really intense, unadulterated, and pretty unique experience.
Absolutely. It's taking that what comes out is what goes in idea to its logical, powerful conclusion in the rum world, too.
Okay, before we sum up Blackadder, let's just quickly touch on the source of a lot of this detail, Whisky.dk. How do these kinds of, let's be honest, challenging spirits actually reach the people who want them?
Right, the retailer context is important. Whisky.dk is key here. They're Denmark's biggest online and physical whiskey shop, but they sell a whole range of spirits.
Gin, rum, tequila, cognac, the works.
Exactly. And their role isn't just selling, they're kind of educators too, especially for products like Blackadder.
They started in 2012, Ulrik Bertelsen and Henrik Olsen. Grown really fast, won awards.
Yeah, multiple Gazelle prizes in Denmark. They clearly know how to connect niche producers with interested buyers.
And having a physical presence helps too, right?
Yeah.
A big showroom, tastings.
Definitely. A 500 square meter showroom near Kolding. They run master classes. That's the perfect place to explain why that sediment in your expensive Blackadder bottle is actually a good thing, a sign of quality, not a flaw. They bridge that gap between this extreme production philosophy and the consumer.
They provide the platform for this kind of radical authenticity. Okay, so let's bring it all together. The Blackadder DNA, it's about that fierce commitment to authenticity, right?
Uncompromisingly so. Single cask focus, cask strength bottling, and crucially, that raw cask method keeping all the natural texture and sediment.
So what's the big takeaway here for you listening?
Well, the trend towards transparency in spirits is definitely growing, but Blackadder is really pushing the boundaries of what pure or authentic means. They're making a case that filtration, even just for looks, actually damages the spirit's character.
And the fact they're successful shows there's a market for it. People who value that raw character over, say, visual perfection.
Absolutely. They're asking for a different kind of honesty in the bottle.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. Think about how just seeing sediment or knowing those natural oils are still there changes how we think about quality. If this lack of filtration is becoming a new marker for premium, what's next?
Yeah, what other standard processes might we start questioning? Could the next wave of authenticity push against things like, I don't know, removing certain esters or even standardizing cask char levels, all in the name of getting closer to that truly raw product?
Definitely something to ponder next time you're enjoying a nice aged spirit. What does unmessed with truly mean?